Hey y'all, this is Julie at Two Chicks Quilting in Ganado, Texas, and we are here for our Tuesday tips and tricks with Two Chicks. And the product that we are going to demo today is the Chenille-It Blooming Bias. Chenille-It comes in a couple of different sizes, and what it is a product that is just a really fine. It's cut on the bias. Ashley, can you hold that up for him? It comes flat like a little piece of trim, but once you put it on your project, you can fluff it up and you end up with a chenilled look. So just like the old chenille bedspreads, you get that same look. So we've used it a couple of different ways, and we're going to talk about how we've used it here in the shop and how to work with it. So I like to use it for different projects. You can use it for binding around a quilt. I'm going to show you how I did it on this little wall hanging. I used it here just to make a design. So I made the snowflake strictly out of all the Blooming Bias, the chenille tape. I sewed it on there in the shape of my snowflake, and then I scruffed it up with my my little chenille brush. You kind of dampen it, it's better. The best way to get it really fluffy is to wash it. And so this project here, I used it as the binding, and I actually washed it. So it got really furry. So lots of different ways to use it. So I'm just going to go over briefly and show you what it looks like when you add it to a project. Now this was a process I was working on to demo this in our crate group. This is one of our projects that we did in our Chicks Quilting Crate subscription box. And the binding, the way you do binding around the edge of a quilt is, first of all, you zigzag, or you use your serger around the edge of your quilt, or zigzag around the edge of it. You want to seal that off, so you can tell I've zigzagged there. Then you're going to take 2 layers of it. So I have 2 layers of the Blooming Bias here. Now I'm using the wider version, which is 5/8 inch wide, and I'm going to sew it just straight down the middle. As you can see, straight down the middle. As you get to a corner, you can just round your corner. You can flip it. If you're going to turn a corner, you can flip it like that. You can cut it and just, square off your corners. It doesn't matter how you do it, because once it fluffs up, you're not going to see that joint. You do want to overlap. Don't leave just a butted up joint. You want to overlap it. So that's how I did one side. If you were doing it on a quilt, I would turn around. Once you sew it on one side, I would turn around and sew it on the other side, a double layer as well. That way you have a good finished edge. And see how this is kind of just folding around the edge? Then it's going to come from the back as well and just finish off that edge. So if you hate binding, or you're doing something that is fun, like a baby quilt, and you want that fun, soft texture, the Blooming Bias would be great as your binding. So that's one way to use it. Another way to use it is to use it to write words. You could, now this project, actually I gave them some black, the 3/8 inch, and they could write a word on here. I didn't get my word done. I was going to write boo on here, but I still haven't put my word on. I'm going to be in trouble with my crate group. But you can write, make letters with it. You can, and you can write really like cursive even, because it bends so nicely because it is cut on the bias. Here I made a snowflake. I used 2 layers of the 5/8 inch. You could do a little Christmas tree, a little stick Christmas tree. You could do a star. You could do a ton of different things, little shapes, just to make a fun little holiday pillow. Lots of different ways to use it. This pillow particularly, we used a glitter grunge behind it. So the fabric has a little bit of texture to it. It has a little bit of shine, and so adding the snowflake just added something really fun to it and gave it a kind of a 3-dimensional look. Another way to use the product is on a panel or even a pieced quilt block. And now this one doesn't have it, but I'm going to show you what I think would be pretty cool on this. Now you would do this before you quilt your quilt. And I'm going to use the white because I don't want to open up this yellow, but I wanted to show you. See, we have it in yellow in the 5/8 inch, and then we have this orange in 3/8. The orange would match the dark part of the giraffes, and then the yellow would match all of the yellow in this panel. So if you took this, I have to uncover it now. I'm going to use this white just to show you. If you took this and just outlined your panel, you could do a ton of different things. You could outline these frames with that yellow right on top of that yellow line. You could also take some green and just go in your trees just to make your trees furry. You could do a ton of different things. So I encourage you to give it a try. It is a product that we bring in for different projects all the time. We do plan on getting more colors available. We do have quite a few colors though here in the shop in both sizes. So if there's something you need, a specific project that you're working on that we don't have the color in stock, let us know, we'll get it. But this is just some ideas to use the Blooming Bias. Now we're going to market next week, so I'm excited to see the Chenille-It booth. They always have fun new ideas, and we get lots of inspiration from them. But panels also that have words in them. I've seen a Christmas panel that said like Merry Christmas, and then they took the Chenille-It and traced the words in the panel, and then they used, it had poinsettias along the bottom, and they traced the poinsettias with the Chenille-It, and when it washes, after you quilt it and it washes, that fuzzes up. Now if you're gonna use Chenille-It on a quilt, you want to piece your quilt, you want to put it all together, you want to go ahead and quilt it first. You don't want to wash it before you quilt it. You want to let it quilt, and if the quilter, just leave this on here flat and let it quilt right over it. So if it's going to go back and forth and quilt over it, just let it quilt over it. If it flips it a little bit, it's okay. As soon as you get it quilted and bound, then you can throw it in the wash and wash it, and that will fuzz the Chenille-It up. It's going to go around all those stitches, so you don't have to worry about that. Just stitch right down the middle of it to attach it, and then quilt it, and then after you wash it, it will be all fuzzy and pretty like this. So that's all we have for you today. We just wanted to share that product. We forget sometimes that we have things that not everybody knows about. So like I said, if you want to try this on a panel or I've even seen people take even a quilt like this behind us, just a pieced quilt, and trace certain areas. So you can do anything. You can use Chenille-It just to jazz up something a little bit. If it's a little quilt block that you want to trace certain elements of it, you can do that, and it just adds a little bit of fun and texture to your project. So we are going to get out of here and get back to work, but we wanted to share this cool project with you. So check it out, Chenille-It Blooming Bias. You want to probably search Blooming Bias on our website if you need some. And then we also have the chenille brush, which looks like a big rough toothbrush, but it's really nice if you have a project like this one. I didn't want to wash. I didn't want to wash it, so I just sprayed it with water and then just scrub it really, really good with that brush, and it roughs it up enough to make it furry. So we will get out of here and get back to work. You guys have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to tune in Thursday for our Facebook Live sale and see what all we have. I think we have some new stuff coming. I know we have one new quilt kit, and we will see you guys soon, and y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye.